So I think we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I have on the agenda is just the announcement about conference registration still being open. Conferences in Providence, Rhode Island this year, and it is coming up soon. If you haven't registered, you probably want to do that now and get your travel arrangements because it's all the first week of September. Does anybody else have any announcements for the group? All right, then I guess we'll go on. Does anybody have anything pressing they want to bring forward to ask questions about, need help with any questions?
Hi.
I will.
I have a quick question. Is anybody running into any errors regarding their holds expiration dates? Like, in other words, we have when we process a hold, we have 3 days for the patron to come in and pick them up before it goes back on the shelf. We've been getting random odd dates, even dates that are before the date the hold was processed. So, like, in other words, if I clicked it today and said that it was, on the, what are we, on the 12th, I might get August, that it expired on August the 4th, which doesn't make sense because it's even after before it was even processed. So Andrew is working on it behind, well, several people have been working on it behind the scenes, but we don't have the ability. Let me change that. Patrons can't expire their holds, can't set dates. All they can do is place holds, both in Lita, both in Aspen, and with staff making them. So we're just wondering if anybody else is running into any oddity.
So you are on Aspen?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know our patrons sometimes they will, I don't know about the before it was triggered thing, but our patrons will set the date that says, I don't want my hold after such and such a date.
Mm-hmm.
And that ends up getting set as the expiration date on our holds.
Yeah,
So,
ours doesn't allow that. It just pops up if you click place hold on the item of your choice, it pops up a confirmation for you to submit it. It doesn't give you any option to change anything other than confirm that you want the hold. I sent him, let me see if I can attach a picture in the chat of what we get. Hold
other than
on.
having patrons set their, sorry, you must have lagged a little, or it's me.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, we have, Rebecca asked, do you have preset dates? We have 3 days, business days. This is what I'm posting right now. If you can click on it, it's really small in the chat, but you can click on it. That's all that a patron can see when they can place a hold.
Yeah, Zoom won't let me
I double clicked it and it
click on it.
opened up. Yeah.
I don't know why.
You got it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
maybe my system may be blocking it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. I just didn't know if anybody else was running into it or
Yeah.
if it's unique to us. I mean, Bywater is trying to figure it out, but I just wanted to see if anybody else had issues that maybe could enlighten those folks trying to dig.
And staff don't mess with any of those dates when they place holds themselves either, right?
Mm-mm.
Do you use any automated things like an AMH or anything?
Mm-mm.
Mm. Weird.
And we haven't had problems until really in the last month. And then it just became odd and random. Andrew sent me a report that shows that the patrons changed the dates, but we don't know. He can't figure out, and we can't figure out how they even got in to change dates. So we don't know if there's something from Aspen that is masquerading as them or something stupid like that that is just odd. But I was more interested in from this group if anybody was experiencing it.
I was trying to see if we had any, but all of my holds awaiting pickups have expiration dates that are after the date the hold was placed. So I assume it would pop up there if we were getting backdated ones, but we don't use Aspen, so that may be the factor. I'm not sure.
Well, and I was also wondering if it was Lita. So I just ran a couple of on my own. I mean, I used my account, my personal account, on my staff account, and placed a couple of holes through Lita to see if that was, again, an interface, error or something like that. Because again, first off, our patrons unfortunately do not use either of the apps, whether it's Aspen or Lita, to their full potential by any means. They'll look up a book, place a hold, may go in to see what their due dates are, but that's about it. They shamefully don't explore much, by and large. We have some that do, but not enough to be giving us these odd dates.
Do they still have access to the plain co-op OPAC?
Nope.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Even if you go and type in, because we even had the URL forwarded immediately. So even if you had the old URL and typed it in, like in a bookmark or something like that, it will throw you to Aspen.
Okay, so I logged into mine through Aspen, my personal account, to look at it. And I don't have the option to set the need by date, but I can freeze it. But it won't let me go prior. That's the part that I don't know how you duplicate that.
Well, and even if you freeze it, if the book is checked in, if the item is checked in, it will not pull you up as the whole, as the person for us to process the hold. You know what I'm saying? It skips you. So then when you unfreeze it, you come back up and the next time the book is checked in or is available, then, in other words, it's almost like suspending. Freezing and unfreezing. It's very similar to what staff can do on the staff interface, where you suspend and unsuspend. If we will do suspends if a patron has fines or damages or whatever, or is expiring very soon. So because it wouldn't do them any good to get the book for 3 days, or whatever. So we will suspend it, but then as soon as so therefore when the book would go to the next person, or it would just stay out there until their suspendedness ends, and then their name will pop up again when the book is checked in or when the book is available, in our holds queue. So, but again, it still doesn't process anything. There's no dates there. The date is supposed to be, the expiration date is the date that it sits on the hold shelf before we restack it, re-put it back in the stack. So it's more of an internal date than it is a date a patron would even really be aware of.
So I came late, but what I'm hearing is that your patrons are placing requests and the not needed by date is getting filled in and not respected.
No, we have, if you can see, hold on.
Sort of.
It says hold expires on, in other words, this is their hold slip that we put on the spine of the book.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, when we confirm the hold, we confirm it and print a hold slip. At the bottom of the hold slip, it states, for our purposes, states the hold expires in 3 days. So we can go and then pull it back. It doesn't just sit indefinitely on the hold shelf. We go through there and pull the holds and reshelve them after a period of 3. We do it for 3 days. So, and that's a setting in Koha that we set. So, and it's always been accurate, but in the last month or so, very randomly, it is being a week out, 2 weeks out, or even in a couple of cases prior to the date that the hold was even confirmed.
So I guess my question would be, does the date on the printout match anything in the item record when in the hold record, or is the date independent of the
date is independent of anything. Now, if you go into logs, it will show you hold expiration date, but it is 3 days from. It'll show you when the hold was confirmed, and then so like on August the 10th, and then on August the 13th is the expiration date.
Okay, and so that would be, I would want to take a look at the print template for that receipt.
Okay.
And to see where it's getting that date from. Because if the date is not getting it from the right part of Koha, the date can be different. It depends on how that date is created in Template Toolkit or in the actual receipt template.
That's a good idea. I'll look into that. Thank you, George.
I have the same issue where I have older receipt templates where the date, it prints a big date at the top that says hold expires on, and it puts a big date up there, and it's just 7 days in the future from when the receipt is printed.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody checks in something and then the hold slip gets torn out of it and they go to print it again, the hold expiration date that's way down in the bottom with the item information will be different than the big number at the top. And that confuses people. And that's because the receipt is really old. And at the time I created it, it used an independent date for so the dates the date at the top of the slip doesn't match anything in Koha.
Okay.
So
I'll
that would be
definitely
my
check that,
first suspicion.
Yeah, this is an old like pre-pandemic receipt. So it's very possible that's the issue. Thank you.
All right, does anybody else have something they want to talk about? Well, the next thing I have on there is bugs, and Chip added one to the there. It's the bug 33647. I'm gonna paste it here. He was hoping to get some more eyes on it. He's at the Ohio Summit, so he's not able to talk about it, but it has to do with the borrower's date last seen. We don't use that. So does anybody else have any ideas about what he's talking about? Here, let me copy his whole thing. He says, circulation staff want to view the last seen date. The last seen date appears in borrower unwanted preferences, but unchecking the box doesn't seem to do anything.
I mean, personally, I would love to see the last seen date be split. So it's like last in a building, last online, last authentication, you know, to have more detail so that it's not just the last time the card was used. We have the same problem with patrons that have really high fines, and we block the cards, but yet they still keep having active last seen dates because they're accessing something in their account online or something, or the app is pulling something. So it says that they're still active when they haven't been here in 5 years. So it's really kind of annoying.
Yeah, it is a field in the database that that doesn't appear, I guess, in the patron record. We don't use it, but I know where it is in the database.
And that's a system preference you have to turn on, isn't it? Looks like-
Well, borrower unwanted fields, the system preference that's mentioned in the bug just says, you know, which fields, I think borrower unwanted fields just controls which fields you remove from the add edit patron interface. And that one isn't editable or addable anyway. It's just that the add edit interface, the borrower's unwanted field, gives you every field in the patron record. It's just a dump of every field in the patron record, whether or not that's actually in the add edit page is irrelevant. It just gives you all the fields. So
so it'd be nice if that was accurate too, as to what it would be able to show.
yeah.
It looks like in order to use the last scene though, you have to turn on TrackLastPatronActivityTriggers, which we don't have. We don't use that. Well, if you can comment on that bug, Chip would appreciate it. Does anybody have another bug that they would like to share with the group? Rebecca shared the bug about the issue I mentioned where patrons will set their, I don't want the hold after, and then that sets the expiration date.
Yeah, but that's not the whole, that's not the
Yeah.
expiration date that I'm talking about, but that's
Yeah,
good information, but that's not the specific one I'm talking about.
right, yeah. Sorry, 1 second, I'm having connection issues again. Okay, so the next thing that I have on the agenda is reports or issues. Any cool reports that anybody has made that they would like to share, or any other issues besides the questions that we already brought up? Going once, If not, the thing I kind of wanted to talk about today is the upcoming upgrade to 2505, since a lot of us are going to be moving to that in the next few weeks or into September. I added some links to the agenda to the Bywater Upgrades Hub and the community release notes. A couple of bugs that I noticed right away that I thought were pretty cool that are coming in. Is one that allows you to add notes to the transactions table, bug 23674. And then, so then when you're taking a payment, you can add notes in lots of different spots where you weren't able to before. And also they had added a way to send receipts on transactions, which I thought sounded really cool. If somebody says, hey, can I get a receipt for that payment I made 2 months ago? Now, hopefully you should be able to go to their account and click send receipt, and it would send them, it says, yeah, it will manually email a receipt from the payment line using a new receipt email option. So you could just shoot them off an email receipt for a previous transaction from their account, which that sounds really cool to me. Does anybody else have a enhancement or a bug fix that's coming up in the next upgrade that you're excited or worried about?
I've
Related to
already said
your-
this. I'm worried about the ability to edit notes in the transactions table.
That's what I just linked because I'm excited about that one. But also worried. But I have had situations in the past where it comes up that I need to be able to modify a transaction note after the fact. And at this point, you have to go in and like revert it and redo the payment if you want to add fix a note. So
For my situation, there are some times it would be nice to edit a note, but I'm also in a situation where we have in the past had people at one library do things to payments. They've accepted payments. They've written off fines and fees that they shouldn't be writing off. So library A, goes in and forgives all of the fines owed to library B by a patron. And so I've got code in my system that whenever anybody writes off a fee or pays a fee, it adds a note in there that says this payment was processed by username at branch code. And so now they will have the ability to go in and edit that and remove potentially those notes. And so that's what I'd like the notes to be locked down in a way similar to we have the patron messages. So if somebody at my Leavenworth library creates a patron message, there's a system preference that makes it so that only somebody else from Leavenworth can manage those messages. So that way, the patron in Seneca can't go in and delete or modify a message that was put there by somebody in Leavenworth. And that's the kind of function that I think would be the next step for editing notes on the transactions table, would be to make it so that if Leavenworth creates a note, accepts a payment, the Leavenworth is the only one that can edit the note that goes with that payment. That would be a good next step, I think.
Jason did mention that in the chat that there is a subpermission that allows you to turn on or off being able to edit notes. But like you said, you would like it to be branch specific then.
Yeah, and there is a subpermission. Oh, update charge to edit notes. Okay, I'll have to look at that because I didn't realize there was a subpermission. So
I like Sally's suggestion, being able to set it whether or not you can edit your own notes or permission to edit somebody else's, because that would be nice. If I could just let staff correct their typos and things, but not change somebody else's notes.
If anybody wants to go in and look at anything in particular, I did create a sandbox yesterday because I was creating videos for my staff yesterday. So there is a sandbox in the Bywater sandboxes. It's just called Sandbox Test. That's all set. It's just a master version of the new release. So I can take some screenshots of things like editing notes and stuff like that. So feel free to go in there, and it's valid until the end of the day tomorrow, or 8 o'clock tomorrow. So
It looks like
Yes.
my test server is getting updated today, so some of you might have test servers getting updated soon.
yeah, my test server will be updated tonight. So, which, begs the question, why are people telling me the test server isn't working today? But,
The address for Bywater sandboxes. I have to look it up every time. There you go. Oh, George.
I just put in a link to the wiki page where all the sandboxes are accessible. So
That's better because then you can look at all the other ones too.
I particularly like in the last year, it seems like the Bywater ones, if they're not working, OpenFifth is working. So and I hardly ever use BibLibre because they use Unimark, or it's they're a lot of their stuff is set for other languages. So seems like for a while, every time I started one of those, it would always be in Unimark. So
Trying to get back to. There's a whole lot of Monday minutes out already about the upgrade. I'm probably more excited about the local holds priority group, but I haven't really sat down to think about how it will impact our system yet. Because we don't have very many library groups, just a couple.
one of the ways I've thought of using it is if I have a library that doesn't like to share, or that gets complaining about sharing, I can put them in a group on their own and put everybody else in a separate group. And then they will always be at the bottom of the holds list. For their patrons will always be at the bottom of the holds list. So, but that's just a mean-spirited way of looking at that. So Christopher and I did do a video too last week, or it might have been two weeks ago, about I said we should each pick our 5 favorite upgrades, and he said, no, 5's too many. We should just pick 3 each. And I said, okay. And so I picked 3, and then he sent me a list of 12. And local hold groups is part of that video. So
I see that they moved the purchase suggestions to the REST API. I'm hoping that that will solve a lot of complaints that I'm getting from my staff about that process taking forever. We've been complaining about it since we started using purchase suggestions. It's just super, super slow if you have a lot of suggestions, even if you have a mildly large amount of suggestions, it just slows everything down. So I'm really, really hopeful that this will solve that problem.
Yeah, I was just gonna put those in chat. Also, Whole's history is getting their ST API treatment, so anything that can speed up those long pages loading. I'm excited about the purchase suggestions more though, because that one is terrible in our system too.
Yeah. All right.
So, well, I was about to say one of the ones I like is adding, with patrons, we have the ability to add extended attributes. We can create fields uh, randomly and add them to a patron's account. And that way, if we have a field that nobody else wants, it doesn't have to be added to everybody's cohort. Add some crazy field like, Kansas, whatever kind of, thing that's specific to our environment. And that's being extended now to libraries. You will have the ability to add new fields to libraries without having to modify the libraries table. And it'll be just like patron extended attributes. It will just be for libraries. And actually, there's a couple of other fields. There's a couple of other places where, like that idea of his being extended to, and so there's actually a new section in the system administration module just called additional fields. And so some of the patron stuff like account lines, credit and debit types are there, and libraries are there, and e-resources management and acquisitions all have similar things. And so that's where those will live now.
I'm excited for that one because I want to do like more with my slips. So I can like add additional fields like courier codes and stuff without latching on to fields we don't use like country code.
Right. That's exactly what I wanted. And this is one of the great things I like about Koha is I asked Bywater, a couple of years ago, I said, what would be a price for that? Adding, attributes like something like extended attributes to the library records. And they gave me a price, and we put a thing on Bugzilla, and I decided it was more expensive than I wanted to pay. And then somebody saw the bug and they said, yeah, that's a good feature. And I don't know if somebody paid for it or if some developer said, yeah, that sounds like something I can do. And so, I had the idea, and then somebody else ran with it and added it in there without me having to pay anything. So I like that.
I put another one in the chat. The adding select to the SQL report multi-selects is a nice change. So like you can do multi-selects in SQL reports right now, but it's just one big box. Oh yeah, Julia, I just put a different one. Yeah, so like it's one big box. After the update, it works like the item search multi-select. So like you pick something, it adds a little chip, and then you can pick another one, add a chip, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Oh
and
no,
they did
spoilers for George's video.
they did it for the one that I was really excited about was selecting like patron categories and authorized values so that I don't have to worry about one of my other super users accidentally deselecting me from an authorized value or patron category. A long list of releases this time.
If you're already using the in convention in a report, it'll just switch to the new type. Let me find it. So like for doing ins, you do like field in, and then at the end of your authorized value list, you do the colon in, and that'll make it a multi-select.
Is that already in the system? I feel like I saw that the other day.
Yeah, you can use it right now. It's just this change changes it to the select two instead of like the big
Okay.
list of shift control shift selections.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got an example that I just put up on the screen. So this is just a simple report, select branch name and address where branch code is in, choose your library branches colon in. And when you run that, you get this. And so you can hold down the control button and say, you know, these, and then run the report. And I did something wrong. Branches, branch name. Oh,
You're trying to do template toolkit or something.
yeah, I just had an error in my. All right, what am I doing wrong? It really works good when it works, when you can remember off the top of your head what the fields are. Oh, it's branch address 1. Did I get it
Your
right
where
this time?
statement has a branch in it instead
Did
of
it?
branches.
Boy,
Well,
I'm
now-
not very good at this.
You don't have a from statement.
Oh, I
Oh.
don't. Yeah, there we go. That took way too many tries, but yeah, you can go through and you can click them one at a time, or you can hold down the control button. And you can do that with anything that you've got. So for us, you know, we can go to collection code, and we've got collection codes for video VHS, video. Yes, we still have a library that has VHS, video VHS and video DVD and video Blu-ray as 3 separate collection codes. And this way, if they wanted to see all their videos, they could choose all 3 of those without having to, you know, run a report for each different one of those, which will be a nice change. The shelving locations and the search results are in the details pages. I like and I dislike that. The shelving location will be in a separate column. So, and Jason has already expressed, you know, to me what he likes and doesn't like about it. I like it because for us, it's another way to sort. Having that in a separate column makes changes the way that the sorting can work. But then it also makes that table wider. So I've started working last week on some code that would make that. Currently, on the details page, the table is 2 columns to the right, because there's that sidebar in the left-hand 2 columns. And so I've been looking at different ways that maybe I could use jQuery to make that collapse unless you hover over it. So that would make the details fill the screen more. And then you can, if you need to see the things that are in that column, you can get it if you want to. So I'm maybe I'll have something at the developers at the web development special interest group, which might need a name change to talk about next time. Although I wouldn't count on that. So. So here's what that looks like. The shelving location used to be underneath the home library down here, and now it'll have a separate column. And if we can make it so that this just collapsed when you're not, unless you hover over it, then that would, give this part of the screen more room if you've got a lot of columns.
I don't know if this will really affect the status, the normal view, but when they shifted the shelving location away from current library on the hold queue list, it messed up the sort for us. And so it was like you could sort by shelving location or call number, but not shelving location and then call number without holding down a shift key, which I eventually realized, but it was not something, it just made a mess of our holds queue. It's so much so that I ended up recreating it through a report and some JavaScript to say, here, do it, and sorting it for them. It was kind of a mess.
I hadn't really thought about that. I already have all of our libraries using a report for their holds queue instead of built-in.
Yeah, that was kind of a run back to the office and throw something together quickly because we do a lot of holds. And it is possible, but you have to know that you need to hold down the shift key for the second sort, which most of our staff would never figure it out. I'm not even sure how I managed to figure it out.
I figured it out when I heard Sally from Knox County Library explain it at a meeting like a few seconds ago.
Yeah, I'm trying it out on mine now. That's kind of cool.
I was a couple minutes late, and by the time I get here, we were talking about Wally's question. Is anybody here going to the conference? Couple people.
I told Andrew I didn't have any preferences when I did my presentation, and so he put me at first thing in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I suppose.
I am also going to the Mountain Plains Library Association conference in North Dakota in October, I guess. And I didn't have any preference. And my office coworker, Robin, is currently the president of MPLA. And my presentation is the last presentation of the day on the last day of the conference. So I'm looking forward to a room of empty faces. There's either going to be nobody there or there are going to be a couple of people there that are just like ready to leave. So that's an exciting time to present.
Sounds like a few people are doing online. I think that's probably what we're gonna end up doing next year because travel budget keeps getting tighter. I really do appreciate that we have the online option. It's really great.
I did get this in the mail yesterday.
Think you have to hold it right in front of your face.
Or just turn off the background.
Ooh.
What you can't see here is that because I chose black, the lettering underneath here is all black. So there is something that says, it's like a secret message that you have to like stand right in front of it to see. So that came in the mail here yesterday.
So are you saying you want people to stare at your chest?
No, but that's what's going to happen if anybody wants to read that.
And you can get the merchandise through, you can go to the Koha US website for the conference and click through to the Threadless site, right?
Yes, that's where this came from. I don't remember how I got there exactly. I guess it's on the merchandise page.
Cool. How long did it take to get to you?
About a week, I think, from when I ordered it. I also ordered a notebook and that hasn't come yet. So
Yeah, I have a t-shirt as well. And it took about a week.
there's all kinds of stuff. There's shirts, there's mugs. I guess there's a shirt that has all of the past conferences list on it, the Koha US tour. There's all kinds of fun things to purchase.
I know I just noticed that you can get all kind a windbreaker or a bomber jacket style.
It's Koha US, there should be a line of ammo.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? If not, I think we could probably wrap up a little bit early. I'm seeing something. Oh, okay. Mary was asking about the sorting on the holds queue, but it's hold down the shift rather than the control button, I think. And then you click on the top the column heading and then hold shift and click on another column heading. It should sort by that second one after. Are there other tables you can do that on? I assume.
I'm kind of wondering if it's a data tables function and it'll work on any data table.
That would be cool.
I'm looking right now.
Yay, hopefully it's all done.
I just did it on a holdings table. Cool.
Yeah, I'm in the reports table and it works there. Oh, neat.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it for today. Thank you guys for attending. I haven't decided whether or not we'll do a meeting next month or not. I'm thinking maybe not, since we're gonna have time for a SIG stuff during the conference. But I put an email out about it closer to that time. Thank you all for coming. Have a good day.